With the recent addition of Hyouka to the Crunchyroll catalog, I felt it was an appropriate time to finally release this Hyouka video I wrote around the time I reviewed this series earlier this year. Links in the description for the review. So please enjoy the video, and thank you Abi for suggesting the title of this video. And here are 4 reasons to be curious about Hyouka, aka why you need to watch Hyouka. One of the things I keep going back to with Hyouka, among other things, is the characters. There is something about them that makes them so memorable, and that reason is actually not just one thing, it's a combination of many, some of which we'll rehash inadvertently throughout this video. So why do I find them so memorable? Well, the premise of Hyouka is basically your classic mystery. Because of that, it comes with some tropes of these kinds of anime. And the best thing to come from that is, even for an anime featuring kids in high school, this anime is mature and their characters show it. I won't go as far to say these characters aren't completely mature in the sense they're serious all the time or don't have their moments of, we'll say, moe, but you can't deny how human these characters are written. You see, Hyouka captures the contradictory nature of humans. And you can't deny, people all around the world are contradictory, and for a medium like anime to capture that, when you have anime like Comic Girls or High School DxD, and no offense to those anime, they serve a purpose, but Hyouka intentionally delves into what it means to be a human and how our minds work. I guess what I'm trying to say is, how many anime do that? But another leading factor as to why these characters are so good is the show's ability to show multiple faces for these characters. No spoilers, but episodes to look out for are episodes 11 and probably the last 2 episodes. Hyouka is about the mundane, making the 90% of our boring lives into a sort of game, a mystery, if you will. This is generally the premise of most of the episodes in Hyouka, which creates a breeding ground for great character development. The episodes I mentioned to look out for all in some ways feature one or many of our characters in situations we don't normally see them in. This is because most of the anime is about the mundane. So when something big does happen, you see characters show a side they never show. For example, Hodor O showing a different or angry side in episode 11. Don't expect these characters to be one note and the same throughout. We see very often how unique these characters can be. But besides the characters, I think another facet that largely goes under the radar is the animation. KyoAni has, for the most part, always been a studio who has sat comfortably in a role where you always expect their anime to be highly produced and created from a place of passion. Hyouka is no different, but Hyouka offers a level of variety and detail that not even other KyoAni series like Violet Evergarden that were seemingly marketed on their visual and narrative depth could ever hope to touch. Let's start off with one of my favorite details in Hyouka, and that's the shadows. Now I know you're saying, why should I care about dumb shadows in anime? And typically, I would be right there with you. In most anime, I don't consider shadows to be anything special. So why are they so special in Hyouka? Well, to start off, let's analyze this scene here. Spoiler free, of course. You'll see as Chitanda and Hodor O are walking on a sidewalk, the sun is setting, creating a beautiful scene where the colors are more gentle. Less brights, more browns, and darker shades of greens, with a nice reflective layer on the sidewalk and surfaces that is very subtle. Taking a little detour for a moment, this scene is another example of how good of a job KyoAni did with Hyouka. Just look at how beautiful this scene is without even getting into the main talking points. Anyways, now let's take a look at our characters in this scene. Did you notice? That's right, there are shadows on Hodor O and Chitanda, but shadows where the sun is still piercing through the gaps in between the leaves of the trees. So you get these outline of the leaves now casted on our characters. This is impressive because while it's sharp and detailed, it's not too detailed as to look unrealistic. But, as my final example for shadows, I will now talk about the shadows present from the hair on these characters. It's not a huge thing, it won't make Hyouka any more enjoyable from a story perspective, but it's yet another reason why you should give Hyouka a shot. Yeah, we get it, English is a terrible language, and we should all move to Japan because dubs are for Satan. But if you're not insane and going to be open about dubs, then you have to admit Hyouka's dub is easily one of the best dubs for a KyoAni show out there right now. This will require a little backstory, but the dub actually didn't release in 2012 with this anime, nor was it subtitled until the dub actually came out. So Hyouka released in 2012 in Japan, and surprisingly, this anime up until 2017 never got a full release in the West. That changed as it was licensed by Funimation, released on July 4th, 2017, with full subtitles and an English dub. It took half a decade for Hyouka to come to the West, but it was all worth it as the dub is quality, and seeing it in Blu-ray was also a plus too. So let's go through the cast. First off, we have Madeline Morris as Chitanda, Adam Gibbs as Hodor O, Jill Harris as Mayaka, and Dallas Reed as Satoshi. I could actually go on even more. Another notable name is Alexis Tipton, who plays Irisu, but I think you get the point. This cast, while being for the most part unknown, has some great range, and to me, the dub is the way to watch Hyouka. Now, that's not to say the subtitles aren't unwatchable. I think when it comes down to it, it's preferences, obviously. But if you're a fan of dubs like myself, then the English dub is easily a reason to check out Hyouka, as it's the best dub a KyoAni show has, and Funimation put their all into it. The final reason is very simple, and that is Hodor O, and more specifically, his development throughout the show. His character initially seems very dull, almost too dull to be considered anything more than that. But as the show develops, Hodor O starts to become more than just this, well, dull character. He eventually becomes this brilliant character that has this relatable and grounded personality to him. He's more in line with your typical loner teenager in school, the one who sits in the back of class and doesn't have many friends, maybe one or two. He isn't bullied and he isn't outcasted by anyone but himself, which is what initially piqued my interest in his character. Typically, most anime would have Hodor O bullied, left on the side of the curb by his classmates. But in reality, while he's a stranger to them, none of them really hate Hodor O. He just keeps to himself, and that's what I find so interesting about Hodor O. But as the story develops, Hodor O comes more and more out of his shell and develops into this person that has a completely different outlook on things. Originally, Hodor O shuns away the high school life many people would want. He doesn't want romance, he doesn't want to be in clubs, he just wants to conserve energy. So when Hodor O takes that jump to a kind of self-discovery and joins the club, he notices the way he lived before was not the one where he could develop and prosper. Basically, a dead end of sorts. And I think it goes without saying that Hyouka's depth doesn't just come from one thing at all. All the things I mentioned in this video is what makes this anime work. Without Chitanda, Satoshi, Irisu, and all the other characters throughout the series, Hodor O doesn't develop. So in many ways, Hodor O's development, any character's development, is all because of all the other characters being so well written and developed alongside Hodor O and whoever else you want to have as an example. So there you go. These are 4 completely arbitrary reasons to watch Hyouka. Of course, I have to ask, what are some of your favorite parts in Hyouka? And if you haven't watched it, did my video help you decide to watch it? And before I go, I have to remind you, I do have a 40-minute Hyouka review, so go over into the description of this video and click on that. You can also find an hour-and-a-half podcast from the Anime Nomad podcast on Hyouka, where me and 3 other people pretty much dive right into Hyouka, even more than I did maybe in my review and this video itself. And of course, you can find this on Crunchyroll subbed, Funimation dubbed and subbed, and you can of course buy this on Blu-ray right now over on Amazon or whatever platform you wish to choose. So with that being said, thank you all for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon button so you never miss a video from me. Thank you all for watching. My name is the SeaTactics, and I'll see you later.